Renting before you buy sounds like the mature, sensible choice. You avoid rushing, you keep your options open, you give yourself time to make a smart decision. Then the moving truck arrives for the second time. Half of your belongings are in storage, your lease is ending, and the house you actually want hits the market while you are surrounded by furniture that looks like it was selected by a hotel purchasing committee. Renting first can absolutely be the right move. It can also add cost, disruption, and pressure without solving the problem that made you hesitate in the first place. The decision comes down to three things most people skip: what uncertainty you are trying to resolve, how specific your next home needs to be, and how much transition you are willing to absorb before you finally settle. The safest looking option is not always the safest option. Sometimes it is simply the one with an extra set of keys. Start with the reason you are considering a rental, not the polite answer, the real one. Do you need information you cannot get from visits, research, or conversations? Or does renting feel more comfortable because buying makes the move official? Those are completely different situations. A temporary home is useful when it helps you answer a specific unresolved question. You may be unsure whether you want an age-restricted community or a traditional neighborhood. Perhaps new construction appeals to you, but you have never lived through the delays, the upgrade decisions, and the waiting period that comes with it. Another move might depend on whether you want a condo, a patio home, single family residence, or something with enough garage space to prevent every storage decision from becoming a marital summit. Those are legitimate reasons to pause. Renting gives you breathing room when the housing category itself is still unsettled. What it cannot do is make the decision for you. You can remain uncertain in a rental just as efficiently as you can remain uncertain anywhere else. The address changes. The indecision usually packs itself. So before signing a lease, finish the sentence. I will be ready to buy once I know you answer the question. And that answer needs to be concrete. Maybe you need to know whether community living feels so structured. You could be waiting to sell another property before using those proceeds. Your plan might involve comparing a resale home with a build that will not be ready for several months. A useful rental has a job. If you cannot name that job, you may be paying for a delay instead of buying clarity. The second issue is how specific your future home needs to be. A flexible buyer does have more room to rent first. If several locations, floor plans, ages, and community styles could work, waiting may not create much pressure. You can take your time because your acceptable inventory is broad. Specific requirements change the equation quickly. Single-story construction may be non-negotiable. You could need space for visiting family without maintaining rooms that sit empty 11 months out of the year. Perhaps your garage must hold 2 vehicles, golf equipment, bikes, and the collection of boxes you have promised to sort since 2014. And pool or no pool does matter. A managed yard may be essential. Some buyers want community activities nearby without paying for amenities they will never use. Others prefer fewer rules and more privacy. Every firm requirement reduces the number of homes that can realistically work. That does not mean you should panic and buy the first acceptable property. It means you should understand the risk of assuming your ideal home will appear whenever your lease tells it to. The real estate market does not coordinate with your move-out date. It has never shown that level of courtesy. A 6-month rental can feel generous at the beginning. Month 5, though, has a different personality. Suddenly, every listing gets evaluated against the deadline. A property that would have received careful thought in month 1 may start looking unusually charming when temporary housing is about to expire. And renting is supposed to reduce pressure. Poorly planned renting simply moves the pressure to a later date and adds a countdown clock. That is why your housing criteria should be defined before your lease begins. Separate your non-negotiable from preferences. Be honest about what you would compromise on. Decide which features affect how the home functions and which ones are mostly visual. A room painted an unfortunate shade can be fixed. A garage that does not fit your vehicles will continue being exactly the same size no matter how optimistic you feel during the showing. Your third consideration is transition tolerance. Moving once is work. Moving twice is a subscription. A temporary relocation may involve storage units, deposits, utility changes, address updates, rental furniture, pet policies, delivery problems, and the ongoing question of which box contains the one thing you suddenly need. None of that makes renting unreasonable. Those details simply belong in your decision. People often compare rent with a future mortgage payment and stop there. The practical cost includes every step required to live between homes. Will you move all your rental furniture into the rental? Would a furnished place make more sense? Where will everything go if the temporary property is smaller than the home you sold? Are you comfortable keeping important belongings in storage? And what happens if the lease ends before you close? Pets can narrow short-term options. Large vehicles, trailers, or recreational equipment may create another layer of difficulty. And guess they matter too. A temporary home that barely works for you may become a problem when family visits during the transition. This is where self-awareness helps. Some people can live with half their belongings packed and treat the experience like an extended adventure. Other people become deeply offended when the good towels are in the storage unit across town. Neither reaction is morally superior. Just know which person you are before volunteering for temporary living. The sale of your current home can also shape the answer. You may need to sell before buying. And that could be a financial decision, a timing issue, or simply a preference to avoid carrying 2 properties at once. A rental creates separation between the transactions. That flexibility can be very valuable. You can close the sale, complete the move, and approach the purchase without trying to coordinate every date perfectly. Separation comes with trade-offs. Your belongings move twice, the purchase happens later, housing costs continue during the rental period, and you remain unsettled longer. A direct move may be possible when the timing, financing, and purchase plan are clear enough to coordinate. That conversation should happen early with the professional involved in the transaction. Guessing is not a strategy. Neither is hoping 3 separate schedules magically become cooperative because everyone added the dates to a group text. Set an exit condition for the rental. That might mean purchasing once the current home sells, once a particular property type becomes available, or once you have compared a set number of realistic options. Avoid using perfection as the finish line. Perfection is difficult to locate and apparently has a very limited inventory. So temporary housing should also match the life you need during that transition. A cheap rental that creates constant inconvenience may not be the bargain it appears to be. You need enough space to function, appropriate terms for your expected timelines, and clear rules around pets, vehicles, guests, and lease termination. Read the agreement carefully. Short-term flexibility can come with conditions that definitely matter later. Do not assume you can extend for 1 month, leave early, or change plans without consequences. Those details should be understood before your belongings are even on a truck. There is also a middle option between renting and buying immediately. You could extend your exploratory period without relocating everything. A longer visit might give you time to tour suitable homes, compare community types, and meet with the people involved in the purchase and refine your criteria. This works best when only a few questions remain. You do not need to move your entire life to Phoenix merely to decide whether you prefer a patio home or a traditional single-family residence. A really focused visit can answer more than a few months of passive browsing. The key word is focused. Tour homes you could realistically purchase. Compare options within your true budget. And take notes about the features that keep rising to the top. And pay attention when the same objection appears repeatedly. That pattern may reveal a genuine requirement rather than an ordinary hesitation. An extended visit will not replace temporary living when your uncertainty can only be resolved through local experience. It can prevent an unnecessary rental when the missing information is narrower than you assumed. So when does renting first make sense? Choose it when you have a defined question that temporary living can answer, and you have enough flexibility in your housing criteria, and also a clear plan for how the rental ends. Buying sooner may be the better path when your preferred home type is specific, your purchase conditions are established, and a second move would create more disruption than clarity. Maybe consider a longer visit when the decision is close, but not quite complete. A few unresolved details do not always justify a lease, a storage unit, and a temporary sofa with the structural integrity of a decorative pillow. The wrong choice is not renting. The wrong choice is renting without purpose. Buying right away is not reckless when the preparation has already happened. Waiting is not automatically wise when it leaves you equally uncertain and considerably more tired. Your first year in Phoenix should not be shaped by whichever option sounds safest in theory. You need to build a plan around what you need to learn, what kind of home will actually work, and how much transition are you prepared to manage. That gives you a decision based on substance instead of nerves. Subscribe for practical Phoenix relocation guidance that helps you make the move without turning every choice into a 12-month research project. If you are weighing a rental against buying directly, reach out with your timeline and housing priorities.